Hey guys, and welcome back. On today's video, I'm going to show you how to do a transmission fluid exchange on an Isuzu NPR. Now this happens to be a 2016. It has the GM 6.0 liter L96 gas engine, and it's got the GM 6L90E transmission. So this vehicle has 94,500 and so miles on it, and I don't know the history on the last time the transmission fluid was ever done. I'm going to show you guys something which leads me to believe that perhaps it's never been done. So I'm going to pull the dipstick out. There's no leakage or anything. The transmission shifts perfectly fine, but I'm going to show you on the paper towel. You can see that there is a little bit of gray, and this is not very red anymore. And smelling it, it's, you know, it smells like regular Dextron 6 transmission fluid. It doesn't smell burned. I don't have any reason to believe that it's been changed, but what I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and get this out, the transmission fluid in here out. I am going to be putting a Durali spin-on transmission filter and a transmission auxiliary transmission oil cooler on here, which, by the way, it doesn't have one. So that's why I'm not dropping the pan. So I'm not going to do anything with the pan or the screen that's in there, or the horrible filter, the transmission screen slash filter that's inside the transmission and that seal. I'm not doing any of that today. I'm just trying to get this transmission fluid out of here, and we're going to put the Valvoline Dextron 6 full synthetic. Now, when I ultimately put the Durali spin-on and the transmission oil cooler, I am switching this over to the AMSOIL OE 100% synthetic fluid. But for right now, this is the fluid that we're going to be using. Let's go underneath the front of the truck here, and let me show you something. If this was an NPR HD version, it would have the auxiliary transmission oil cooler mounted right here. They've already got, it's on the same bracket that the oil cooler's on, but it doesn't have one. And the transmission runs about 150 degrees or so, so it doesn't run too hot. So anyway, what I'm going to be doing is I've marked the lines. So the fluid comes out of the transmission. It goes into the passenger side of the radiator tank oil transmission cooler that's in there, and then it comes out the driver's side and back to the transmission. So I'm going to take the hose loose right here on the driver's side. I'll be installing this adapter on the both sides of the tank and also on the hose, and then I'll be putting the 3/8 inch line on there, and we'll run it into our bucket. So I'm going to do that now. I don't need to really show you that. It's real basic. Alright, so you can see here that I have attached the Durali fitting here, and I've also got it attached to the hose on this side. And I'm just going to put my clear hose on like this. This is where the transmission fluid is going to be coming out, and let me get my receptacle set up so that we can get this flush started. Alright, so I've got the hose ran directly into, I have a 5-gallon, this is a square container that's graduated. I just put the other hose, just stuck it in an old oil. This is just a 5-quart old oil container in case there's anything that drips out. But all the transmission fluid is going to flow out of here, and I'm going to show you how we'll do that next. All right, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to crank the engine over and start it, and you can see here there's graduated marks: 1 gallon, 2 gallons, 3, 4, and then 5. And what's going to happen is it's going to push probably about a gallon out, and you'll start to see just a tiny little bit of air come out, and that's when I'll shut the engine off. Almost got a gallon, or a half a gallon. All right, so we see we've got air bubbles in the line, and we've got just a little more than a gallon. So pretty much at this point the oil pan is almost empty, and I'm going to go ahead and put in 4 quarts of new transmission fluid into the transmission, and then we'll do this again. Alright, so I'm going to just keep repeating that process until it comes out clear. Or, I'm sorry, not clear, but comes out red. Alright, so I just put 4 quarts in, so we'll do it again. Alright, so I've ran 3 gallons out. I'm going to put 4 more quarts back in, and that's all I'm going to do for the flush today. And then we'll look at the color on the dipstick, and I'll also show you in the hose as well. Alright, so here is the fluid, and it's not the worst I've ever seen, but you can see it does have a tinge of red to it. It's supposed to be cherry red, but it's more brownish than it is red. But that's pretty much 3 gallons. So, all right, well, let's crank this thing up. I'm gonna let it idle just a little while. I'm gonna run through the gears, and we will check and see what the fluid looks like on the dipstick for the transmission. All right, so I ran it a little while. Let's see how the dipstick looks. Has a brand new paper towel. All right, see, that's nice and cherry red. That's what it's supposed to look like. So the plan on this truck is, again, I'm going to install the Durali spin-on transmission filter. It'll be mounted somewhere over here. And then later on after that, I'm going to install a transmission, auxiliary transmission cooler. And then after I do all that, I'll swap it over to the Amsoil. But this is just to kind of get the old fluid out, just do a stopgap method. But anyway, yeah, it's very, very easy on this truck to do a fluid exchange. Thank goodness they still put dipsticks in these, and not the way passenger cars are, where you have to check it and fill it through the port on the side of the transmission. But anyway, guys, hopefully that's helpful. Please make sure to use Dextron 6 in this. Do not use Dextron 3. Make sure, you know, the best transmission fluid you can use is the Amsoil OE in here. But at the very least, you know, use a good quality Dextron 6. And, you know, this should be done probably, if you're in severe driving, stop and go traffic a lot, I would say do this every 20,000 miles or so, and this transmission will virtually last forever. When I do all the other work, I'm gonna do a separate video. We'll drop before I do the fluid exchange and swap the Amsoil in, I will drop the pan and we'll take that filter out, and I'll show you guys how to get that horrible gasket that the filter goes in that's up in the transmission. So we'll do all that, but I didn't want to do that today, because after you get the Durali on there, you'll never have to change that or do that filter again, because the Durali spin-on will filter down way, 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 way. This thing's like 500 microns, and this will go down to like 20 microns when it's on there. So anyway, guys, hopefully that helps, and I will talk to you on the next video.